Hi, this is Steve from Retroman Blog, and in this episode of Retrosonic Podcast, we focus on the new movie documentary Football's Last Proletarians. And this film looks back on the success of IFK Gothenburg under Sven-Göran Eriksson in the UEFA Cup of the 1980s. As the title suggests, it also concentrates on how a team of part-time footballers in the working class docks of Gothenburg could go on to beat teams such as Barcelona, Hamburg and Manchester United. I chat to directors Martin Jönsson and Pontus Hjorthén, and we were joined by one of the stars of the team, and obviously the movie itself, ex-Liverpool and Fiorentina defender Hysén. Now, you might have also heard our Retrosonic podcasts where we chat to Ian Person of the Soundtrack of Our Lives. Ian supplied all the soundtrack music to the movie, and if you visit www.retromanblog.com, you can find links to the free download of that episode, so I hope you enjoy this. So the movie's going to be out on, it's on DVD in Sweden now, isn't it? So you're going to release it nationally, are you?
We actually got a distributor in the UK just a few days ago. So
great.
The DVD, there are like a pack of DVDs shipping right now to the UK distributor. So it will be distributed in the UK.
And it's been shown on Swedish TV, has it?
Yeah,
or is it
twice, I think. Twice, yeah.
And you got your screening tonight as the first UK screening?
No, actually, it's the second.
Oh,
because they had a screening in Liverpool, actually.
Ah, okay.
Kicking and Screening had a small edition in Liverpool, but on very short notice.
Okay.
So there was no possibility to arrange anything around it. So to me, emotionally, the London screening is the UK premiere.
It's an honor to be here in London also, and I hope we will have audience.
Well, I hope so, because I think it's a movie that will appeal to, I'm not going to say just English fans, but I think particularly in England, I think it will strike a chord, because
I would think so.
You think so? Yeah,
I hope so.
Yeah, I think
I've been thinking that all the time since we made it, that in England this would fit very nicely, this film. People would feel the same.
Well, I think because we've experienced that huge boom with the Premier League and the money involved and the big changes in football, and I think it's probably affected the UK more than anywhere.
And I think there's also a strong connection between the Swedish West Coast and Göteborg and
the north of England,
and England, Scotland and England. There's been a connection by sea for hundreds of years. And it's like an emotional connection also, and I think it appeals to football as well.
Actually, when we were in New York, we had a screening at the Kicking and Screening Festival in New York, and quite a big part of the audience were Scottish, actually. And they really felt something in the film that was really connected to them and the background and their football history with Celtics and Rangers.
I agree,
Rangers, I think it was Rangers who won the
several of the players in IFK Göteborg in those days were from the islands, like Don Corneliusson, for example, who struck the first goal against Hamburg in the UEFA Cup finals. He's from an island outside Gothenburg. And in those islands you find a lot of people called Glenn or Dan or they have English Douglas is very common
there's no part of Sweden where you find so many Douglases.
Nobody's called that in Sweden elsewise. It's just the people from the islands outside Gothenburg, because they obviously they sailed over and they sailed over to get a girlfriend or to get a good sailor or I don't know, whatever, but that's the connection, there between.
Well, I think so. I think not just the football side, but geographically, I always think, say, Glasgow, and that coast of Scotland is quite similar to Gothenburg and the islands, and obviously there's the docks and the ports
and they have the same humor, and also Ian. When they became friends with the Oasis, they said in the interviews always, well, I'm a friend of all the guys in Soundtrack, but they have the same humor.
Lovely.
We have the same sense of humor.
Thank you.
In Göteborg, in Gothenburg, as in some parts of England. You have this sick humor, this.
Yes, I've discovered that. And I like also in Gothenburg, I was there a couple of weeks ago, and there's a popular T-shirt which is like the Ramones logo, which has just got like Gothenburg, and it's got Glenn. I thought that was great.
I think it was you said that the sense of humor in Liverpool and in Gothenburg is a bit
Similar.
Yeah, even if it was tough times for people. Well, there was like the docks was ending up, the shipping thing was ending up like in Liverpool.
Yeah.
People succeed to hold the humor up, like they like to joke about everything. And the atmosphere in the town is basically the same as Liverpool. I can compare Liverpool to Gothenburg like 50-50. It's absolutely exactly the same.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I mean, I think that must have had a bearing on the team, didn't it? At the way, because you were all working class guys, you were all working part time when you were doing the football as well. So it must have had a good camaraderie with the team. I think that was part of it. You know, that was what made it.
And they always talk about their jokes and the way they made.
extremely mean, actually. They were really mean to each other, you know.
Practical jokes. Very harsh.
Mean in one way, but everyone knows that it's nothing.
Just banter.
The thing was that when Sven-Göran Eriksson came, we start to train very equally every training. So it wasn't the funniest training at all. But you come there in the afternoon into the dressing room an hour before the training. You had a good laugh. Then put out your brain, put it on the... And then you go out and do the boring training. And then you do that every day, every day. Same thing. And it's very boring. But it gave results.
So was that his sort of secret, was it? Just it was a very regimented stay training?
And he was a very down-to-earth person, very nice. Everybody loved him. I work for a Swedish football magazine, and we do different stuff with different clubs in Europe. Inside stories like 15, 20 pages. We were in Leicester when he was in Leicester, and we spoke to the groundsman, spoke to the chairman. Everybody loved him because he's such a nice person.
I think it'll be good for English people to see Sven, you know, what he did, where he came from, you know, and to see him with his funny hair and think, how does he get all those girls?
That's the main point.
That's the big question that we never got an answer to.
I think you should ask his old players.
How did the millionaire Sven get all his girls?
Are all these girls like Stevie Wonder or something? Ray Charles or...
well, he has to find it, you know.
He has to have some kind of magic touch.
Well, he's got a big wallet, I think.
Is he in Thailand?
I guess so.
Is he in Thailand now, Glenn?
Yeah. Well, I think so. I can't say anything bad about him because he's such a nice guy. Such a great person.
When I was going to make the interview with Sven, I was nervous also. I thought he wouldn't have time or anything, but he was so calm. He had all the time in the world. No hurries. No, he was very kind, very nice guy. Very down to earth.
So tell us a bit about your background in movies. How did you sort of get to decide on doing the documentary about IFK?
Actually, it started when we were making a film about Spain. So we were spending a lot of time together in rental cars going around Spain, and we started talking about good stories and ideas of films, and our basic concept was that the starting point of a good film is a good story. And then we started talking about these childhood or youth memories of these guys when they were playing. And we soon realized that this story has got everything that a good story needs.
And it's also I lived in Spain almost my whole life, and I've always been telling the story about Glenn and the guys in 1982 when they won the UEFA Cup. That's been my favorite stories. I was 12 years when they won, and I was there at Ullevi Stadium and watched the game. And I've been carrying that story around for my whole life and always been telling it to whoever I met. I'm from Göteborg, you know. Do you remember when they won against Barcelona in '85? And a story about their team. It's always been with me.
It's one of my. So you wanted to commit all those memories and prove to people
it's really childhood memories, strong childhood memories, happy memories.
So was it easy for you to get access to the club? I mean, you know, obviously in the UK now, you have to go through the barriers of media people and everybody.
We were actually very nervous.
To the club itself, to the club and the players.
I was very nervous to meet all these players that were my idols when I was a kid. I was very nervous. But it was very easy to meet them.
Now, I mean, when you look back at the work with the interviews, I feel a bit ridiculous. Because we were so nervous going there. You can hear it on the tapes, like, excuse me, could you please? And when we actually got to know them, it seems like they are actually these ordinary guys that we wanted to put in the movie. So actually, we had a great time making the film. We made so many interviews, almost all of the players in the team, and that's way too many. And we made long interviews with all of them, so we had like way too much material. So it was really the editing process was horrible. We even started fighting me in Pontus because over what's supposed to be in the movie and what's not. And I think this is most important. So it was a horrible process. The last 4 months or something to get all this together, because I mean, to us it was like these are some of our best childhood memories, because when we followed the team when we were children and teenagers.
So you were an IFK fan, were you?
Yeah. In opposition to my father, who's a fan of Malmö.
Oh right. Okay.
He was a fan of Malmö. Now he's a fan of Hysén.
Okay.
But we were both that since we were kids.
But I think it was nice that you did that research and interviews with the players, because I think from watching the movie you get to know the players and you get to like them. You know, you get to sort of, you know, I think that comes across quite well.
A few of these characters, they were, I think they were a little bit forgotten in Sweden. Such as Ruben, who's called Ruben the Red.
Yes, yeah.
A lot of people in Sweden, they didn't know they had forgotten. Many people had forgotten who he was.
Well, he's a great character, and he's the cover star of the DVD, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a good.
And he was an extremely important player for the team, as I see.
He was great. One of the best right backs at that time in Europe.
Yeah, he comes over really well, I think, as well.
Yeah,
he's quite a real passionate guy.
But he never played in the national team because the one was the coach of the national team. He didn't like his long hair.
and his political views.
Yeah, and his political views. But the first thing was his hair.
Oh, really?
This was an old guy who had it. Eriksson.
Eriksson.
I can't
was in the 70s.
Guy, old-fashioned guy. So
I can't imagine what it'd be like now. I think it's a good historical document as well. You know, I think it's nice to see a little bit of that, looking at Gothenburg in in the 80s, and then the changes into like the consumerism as well when things change and the political aspect changes. I think it's a great film. You know, I think it's
actually we got a bit of critique in Sweden for putting, for example, the murder of Olof Palme in the film. But to us, it was like if you really want to feel this story, you have to put in everything that was around this team. What happened in Gothenburg and what happened in Sweden at this time. It's a football team from a working class city. I mean, with the shipyards and the Volvo factories and everything. It's and you can never. Which we have had some discussions in Sweden among football fans, not us, but among football fans on blogs and stuff, about the connection between arbetarrörelsen, the working class movement, the unions and the Social Democratic Party, the connections between that and the club IFK Gothenburg, where some people today, some fans today, they don't want to see that connection. But it's a historical fact that there was a strong connection between the social democracy, the labor unions, and also the industrialists, the SKF, Volvo, and
but actually,
everybody helped.
Those were all movements. The idrottsrörelsen, the like organizing sports. It was at the same time as they organized the labor unions, and it started with the working class movement, and they started to organize people in sports.
Yeah.
And also they started with how do you say? They started to try people to drink less, and it was all parts of the same movement to educate people and make people make sport.
I mean, it's part of it. I mean, it's like you wouldn't be able to do a documentary about Glasgow, Celtic and Rangers without talking about religion, and you couldn't talk about Barcelona and Real Madrid without talking about politics. You know, it's part of it, you know, and I think it comes over really, really nicely in the movie. You know?
Yeah.
So Glenn, what was it like? You were one of the first sort of high-profile foreign players over in the UK. I mean, at the time when you come over, there was only 2 foreigners allowed per team, wasn't there?
Yeah.
To Liverpool. So
at that time was me and John Milby, the Danish.
Oh yes.
So,
Yeah.
well, I was just proud to playing at in the English league.
Yeah.
Well, that was called at that time.
Yeah.
Because I'm grown up with English football on television every Saturday.
Yeah.
Been watching since 69, 67 or something.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
They've shown English football every weekend, every Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
So to play for an English team, and especially Liverpool at that time, was magnificent. You can't play for another team, for a better team.
And you won the league with Liverpool.
First year,
In the first year there, fantastic. Isn't it?
I was travelling around in the double-decker, like with the champagne and the cup there. It's fantastic.
You played at Fiorentina, didn't you, as well?
With Sven-Göran Eriksson as a coach.
Ah, yes.
He was there for 2 years.
Yeah. Did he bring you over to the team?
Yeah. That was the same time when I said no to Manchester United. Because Sven-Göran called me and said, don't take anything else, I'm taking over now. He was in Rome at that time. He said, I've just signed for Fiorentina, so I want you here. So don't sign for anything else. Okay? So I said no to Ferguson.
Any slight regret there or not? Or are you happy with
No, not at that time. No, because they weren't that good at that time.
That's true,
No. He took over 86. They didn't win anything till 90, I think. FA Cup. So at that time, of course, now.
Well, but the Italian league was really something else at that time.
Yeah, they had the best players in the world, really. Maradona, Platini, all these guys.
Yeah, that's true.
Laudrup, all these.
It's not
Ian
like
Rush.
today.
No, it's changed, hasn't it?
Rush came there for 1 year.
Yeah, 1 year.
He didn't do too well. I think he missed the pubs.
Yes, that's right. I went to see IFK two or 3 weeks ago against Elfsport, and your son was playing, and a good win, 2-1. It was a good one, and that cost me 360 krona. that's quite expensive.
Was that 360 kronor for that game?
Yeah. But I had a seat. That was quite expensive.
Yeah, that's expensive too. Yeah. Especially if you put it in relation to the quality of the football.
Of the player. But that wasn't too bad, that game.
That was a good game.
That was a half-decent game.
Yeah, I mean, they were losing.
It was good?
There was bits of it. It got exciting. But I've supported Reading for years, so I'm used to that football.
We can't compete with the rest of Europe because there's no money. We can't keep our players because when they're good when they're 18, 19. They go to somewhere, Norway, Denmark, even in the middle clubs in Holland, in Belgium.
So even
they earn like 5 times more.
Really? More in Denmark and
That's 3-4.
Big difference.
3-4 times.
Yeah. So what do you think? Is there any answer to keeping your players? I mean, we get a lot of Swedish players come over to the UK, and they're always good. They always
they give 100%.
I suppose it's a political matter.
I think also that, maybe it's impossible to go back to the way things were, but the rules, they actually had some regulations on how many foreigners you can have in one team, and those rules, they weren't that bad actually, because it put up some kind of resistance against commercialism. It's gone too far. I mean, it's gone way too far, because the idea of the game is that basically the idea is that the guys from my town go to another town to beat the guys of that town. But and if you lose that,
if you lose totally contact with that,
if you lose the contact with that basic concept, I think the game is in danger actually.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the essence of the game.
I agree, but still, if you want to compete, you need some rich owner who can. I mean, it's very good to say what you say. I agree totally. But that's dreams.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, well, I think that's.
If you want to get up there, you have to get somebody.
If you want a good football league, you have to have some good investments.
Yeah.
So how did you get to work with Ian from Soundtrack of All Eyes for the soundtrack? I mean, because that was how I got to know you.
Old friends of mine. The band Soundtrack of All Eyes.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And Ian is a big IFK fan.
Yeah.
He's got his guitar is
his tattoo
all painted with IFK. So it was. I didn't even have to think about it. It was natural. And Ian is he's a very talented composer. I think he was very inspired by the task to make the soundtrack to his favorite football players. Inspired him a lot. I think.
It's a perfect soundtrack.
I woke up one morning. We had been talking the day before about the 70s and how the team started out and what it was like in the 70s. And he had emailed me 4 new songs. 4 new songs with 70s, like various 70s theme, and they all sounded really like they were recorded in the 70s. It was extraordinary.
Yes, that's true.
He just did it day by day, every day.
The soundtrack is fantastic, isn't it? So did you give him any idea? Did you say this is what we want?
Well, we took him in to the editing and showed him the images, so he was very aware of the whole what every song, what epoch or what match, what game, what feeling everything.
That's why I like the music, because it does. I mean, especially the fantastic intro where you've got the camera flying over Gothenburg, the docks, and you've got the music going. It's a fantastic image. You know, it works perfectly. And also when he's doing like the Borgonovo theme, when he goes to Italy to see him on the hospital. Is it Cornelius and goes to Italy to see him in the hospital bed, and then he's playing that music, and it's really quite fantastic.
Too much. He cries like he can't.
Yeah, but it's a very moving, and the music makes that again very moving sort of.
But one good thing with the film is that it doesn't end up nice.
Yeah.
It ends up with a loss. That's most of the films end up with happy ending, like everybody. But this is shit basically in the end. Of course, you lose against Barcelona.
But that's football.
Yeah, I know, but it ends with that.
Yeah.
Normally it ends in.
They should have won.
Yeah,
should have won.
This time it ends
up in injustice.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing.
But I think that again is why it's a great football movie, because as a football fan, everybody feels injustice.
They were not supposed to win that game. Someone didn't want them to win
never get over it.
Never
We
get
will
over it.
never get over it. I really like the stuff you did on the film and on Ian's music. We really enjoyed it, and it was great for the fans of the film as well. Yeah, it was thoroughly enjoyed, so it was great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Martin. Thank you, Pontus.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And thank you, Glenn.
Nice talking to you.
Thank you very much indeed, and good luck with the movie.
Thank you.